Os presento ya a todos a Elli Tsiforou, que es la Secretaria General de COPA-COGECA, que es la que va a moderar la siguiente intervención. Como os decía, es Enrico Letta, que aparece ya ahora en el escenario. Va a tomar asiento y cuando queráis.
Dear President Villafranca, dear Gabriel, dear members of Cooperativas, Agro-alimentarias. I'm Elli, I'm the Secretary General of COPA-COGECA, the united voice of European farmers and agri-cooperatives. COPA-COGECA have been established in the 50s, 1 year after the Treaty of Rome. And today, they bring together national organizations representing millions of farmers and more than 23,000 cooperatives from the 27 member states of the EU. We are a micrography of the EU. We work together. Our unity is our force, despite our great diversity that reflects the diversity of our agricultural sectors. So it is a great pleasure and honor to be here today on a very important mission that has been assigned to me by Cooperativas Agro-alimentarias to introduce a most distinguished guest, someone that throughout his rich academic and political trajectory has consistently been a front runner in the defense of EU values and in the advancement of the European Union itself. Enrico Letta, welcome to the 9th Congress of the Spanish Cooperatives under the eloquent theme, Sustainability with People. You are the Dean of the IE School of Politics, Economics and Global Affairs and President of the Jacques Delors Institute. You were the Prime Minister of Italy from 2013 to 2014 and have served as Minister for EU Affairs, Industry, Trade, Foreign Trade, Under Secretary of State under Romano Prodi, and I also remember listening to you on many occasions during your term as member of the European Parliament. In 2023, the European institutions have commissioned you to prepare a report on the future of the single market that was published last April under the title, Much More Than a Market. Together with the report submitted by Mario Draghi on competitiveness and by Sauli Niinisto on preparedness, this report is one of the blueprints, not only for the current mandate of the European Commission, but looking to the long-term future of the EU, a future to which, as farming and agri-cooperative community, we are strongly linked, as well with the single market. The agriculture and broader agri-food sector are key to competitiveness. Our businesses are the key contributors to the EU's agri-food trade success story and provide jobs to millions of EU citizens. And to use the quote by Jacques Delors, that one cannot fall in love with the single market, I would say that our community did fall in love, and it is not an ephemeral passion, but the rare kind of a long-lasting love. Our farmers and agri-cooperatives have been investing and thriving in the single market since the beginning, and they continue to do so, and they will do so in the future as well. In our role as users of land and natural resources, we are also the protagonists of the sustainable transition. And when it comes to the next EU's enlargement, it has to do a lot with our sector. Agriculture is also crucial for European security and defense because the stable provision of safe and affordable food is vital for peace and stability. Food security equals security. Enrico Letta, with these few introductory thoughts, I now give you the floor for your speech.
Es un enorme placer para mí estar aquí con vosotros. Voy a intentar, con vuestra generosidad, de hablar en español. Para mí es siempre muy complicado pensar que entre italianos y españoles tenemos que hablar en inglés. Creo que es una locura total. Somos en el fin de una era, en el inicio de una otra. El sueño de una Europa sin riesgos estratégicos ha llegado a su fin. Lo que está ocurriendo en estas semanas evidencia un cambio de escenario global. Guerra comercial, desvinculación de Estados Unidos de la seguridad europea, crisis de la democracia y del orden basado en reglas. Yo estuve en Copenhague el lunes. Para mí, pensar que el tema en Copenhague el lunes era la ocupación americana de Groenlandia, que es un territorio de Dinamarca, era totalmente impensable. Hemos vivido una ilusión al inicio de este siglo. Externalizamos la industria a China, la energía a Rusia, las finanzas y la tech a Estados Unidos, quedándonos solo con la creatividad. Los acontecimientos recientes nos demuestran que este modelo de desarrollo no es sostenible. Hoy lo vemos con claridad, pero es una dinámica que viene de lejos. En los últimos años, primero la crisis financiera, luego la pandemia y después la guerra en Ucrania y en Oriente Medio han demostrado todas las vulnerabilidades de nuestro sistema económico. Europa está reactando. A nivel europeo ha habido la voluntad de reflexionar sobre el escenario e imaginar nuevas soluciones. ¿Cuál es el diagnóstico? Nuestra economía europea es una economía demasiado fragmentada y vulnerable. Europa enfrenta un serio riesgo de desindustrialización, algo que he constatado en mi recorrido por el continente para preparar este informe, Much More Than a Market, como tú señaló. El mercado único europeo ha sido el mayor motor de desarrollo de la Unión Europea, pero hoy su estructura no se adapta al nuevo contexto geoeconómico. La evolución del mercado es clave. El mercado único se diseñó para un mundo en el que la economía europea era central, con pocas alternativas. Hoy todo ha cambiado. Hace 30 años la deslocalización no era una preocupación. Tampoco se consideraba la cuestión de la escala. Hoy, con el crecimiento de las economías asiáticas, solo la dimensión del mercado europeo permite competir en el mundo global. ¿Cuáles son los problemas actuales entonces? La paradoja de la integración asimétrica. Bien en bienes y personas, deficiente en servicios y capitales. Sectores claves han quedado excluidos, impidiéndonos jugar a escala global. Energía, telecomunicaciones, finanzas y, en muchos aspectos, el agroalimentario. La fragmentación normativa afecta especialmente a las cooperativas agroalimentarias, que operan en marcos regulatorios distintos entre regiones, lo cual debilita su competitividad y dificulta la planificación a largo plazo. La energía sigue siendo un factor crítico. Los costes elevados afectan directamente la producción agrícola y la producción industrial. El corazón de todo es el reto de la transición y los costes de la transición. Todo esto ocurre en el contexto de transformaciones fundamentales para el futuro de la Unión, la transición verde, digital y justa. En mi recorrido por Europa he podido constatar que la cuestión ya no es si Europa llevará a cabo la transición verde, sino cómo lo hará. Es evidente que el desafío de la transición es estructural. En el agroalimentario esto implica repensar modelos de producción, modernizar el uso del agua y del suelo y innovar en toda la cadena del valor. Esta transformación debe ir acompañada de estrategias que garanticen sostenibilidad, empleo y viabilidad económica para los pequeños y medianos productores. La percepción común es clara. Avanzar implicará costos elevados. Si no hay claridad sobre cómo se financiará esta transición, la inquietud crecerá. Para evitar una reacción política adversa, la cuestión del financiamiento y la asignación de costes debe resolverse con transparencia. Si la carga recae solo en ciertos sectores, como está ocurriendo con los agricultores, se obstaculizará el proceso en lugar de facilitarlo. Necesitamos un gran plan de inversión público-privada. Uno de los elementos fundamentales, si no el más importante para el desarrollo de una nueva visión agrícola e industrial para Europa, es la cuestión de la inversión. La transición verde y digital requerirá inversiones de hasta 800 millones de euros, 1.000 millones de euros al año. Es una misión que hemos decidido emprender juntos. Tenemos un plan y unos objetivos. El debate ya no es sobre la visión, sino sobre la implementación concreta. La clave está en movilizar eficazmente los recursos necesarios. Para ello, necesitamos un plan ambicioso que integre diversas herramientas, ya que ninguna solución única sería suficiente para hacer frente a la complejidad del desafío. La prioridad de una fase inicial debe ser movilizar el capital privado, un ámbito en el que la Unión Europea se ha quedado atrás, a pesar de su enorme potencial. Permítanme darle 2 ejemplos ilustrativos del problema. Cada año, 300.000 millones de euros, 300.000 millones de euros en ahorros europeos cruzan el Atlántico para alimentar los mercados financieros de Estados Unidos y la economía americana. Esto sucede porque nuestros mercados financieros, al estar tan fragmentados, 27, no 1, no puedan absorber estos recursos. Como resultado, se produce una paradoja increíble. Este capital de los ahorradores europeos fortalece a las empresas estadounidenses que luego regresan a Europa para adquirir nuestras compañías con nuestros ahorros. Necesitamos un cambio de mentalidad. El actual nivel de integración de los mercados financieros europeos es inaceptable, es nulo. Debemos ser pragmáticos, no ideológicos. La fragmentación de los mercados financieros europeos beneficia directamente a otras economías globales y favorece los intereses de Wall Street y de China. Por ello, en este informe propongo la creación de una unión de ahorro e inversión, basada en la incompleta unión de los mercados de los capitales. Su objetivo es integrar plenamente los mercados financieros europeos. Además, es fundamental establecer un vínculo sólido entre la transición digital, verde y justa y la integración financiera del mercado único. Avanzar en la inversión privada permitirá abordar la estructura y las reglas que rigen la inversión pública. La necesidad de inversión en la Unión Europea exige fuentes de financiación tanto privadas como públicas. Esto también afecta al debate sobre las ayudas estatales. En el informe presento ideas para superar el actual estancamiento. La combinación de inversión privada y recursos públicos con instrumentos diversificados es la única forma de alcanzar un consenso tanto en el Parlamento Europeo como en el Consejo. Necesitamos este plan ambicioso de inversiones que sea capaz de aprovechar tanto instrumentos privados como públicos. Defender la industria y la agricultura europea, competir en igualdad de condiciones. La reindustrialización europea no puede concebirse sin una dimensión agroindustrial sólida. No se trata solo de fábricas y centros urbanos. El sistema agroalimentario europeo representa un pilar estratégico, tanto desde el punto de vista económico como social y territorial. Las cooperativas agroalimentarias en particular desempeñan un papel fundamental en la vertebración del territorio, en la creación del empleo estable en zonas rurales y en la garantía de seguridad alimentaria para toda la Unión Europea. En un mercado global altamente competitivo, Europa necesita empresas y especialmente cooperativas fuertes, resilientes y con capacidad de generar valor añadido, tanto en los mercados locales como en los internacionales. Para lograrlo, es imprescindible avanzar hacia un marco normativo más simple, coherente y adaptado a los especificadores del mercado cooperativo europeo. Por ejemplo, la creación de un 28 régimen opcional que permita a las cooperativas operar bajo un mismo marco jurídico en todos los Estados miembros facilitaría su expansión transfronteriza y reduciría barreras administrativas y costes innecesarios. Además, una mayor utilización de reglamentos en lugar de directivas ayudará a garantizar una aplicación uniforme de las normas. Solo así podremos garantizar una competencia verdaderamente leal, condiciones equitativas en el mercado interno y un entorno propicio para que nuestras estructuras agrarias y cooperativas puedan crecer, innovar y reforzar su papel estratégico dentro del proyecto europeo. Voy a las conclusiones. El papel fundamental de la energía para el sector agroalimentario es parte de este reto. El sector agroalimentario es uno de los más sensibles al coste energético. Desde el regadío hasta la transformación de productos, el precio de la energía impacta directamente sobre la rentabilidad. Europa necesita más interconexiones energéticas, un sistema común de compra energéticas, inversiones en renovables adaptadas al medio rural. Solo así se garantizará una transición ecológica compatible con la seguridad alimentaria y la viabilidad del sector, sabiendo que el desafío de la seguridad europea en la era de Trump va a ser fundamental. La seguridad europea ya no puede entenderse únicamente en términos militares o de defensa común. En el mundo actual, profundamente interdependiente, profundamente inestable, la seguridad alimentaria se ha convertido en un componente esencial de la seguridad estratégica de la Unión Europea. Las tensiones geopolíticas, las disrupciones en las cadenas de suministro globales y los efectos cada vez más visibles del cambio climático han puesto en evidencia la vulnerabilidad de Europa en materia de producción y abastecimiento alimentario. Asegurar la autonomía estratégica en la producción de alimentos ya no es solo un objetivo económico o agrícola, sino una prioridad geopolítica y de soberanía. La capacidad de alimentar a nuestras poblaciones en contextos de crisis o bloqueo internacional es parte integrante de una Europa fuerte y resiliente. En este marco, las cooperativas agroalimentarias juegan un papel absolutamente central. Gracias a su arraigo territorial, a su capacidad de organización colectiva y a su función de equilibrio en el mercado, las cooperativas son actores clave para garantizar el abastecimiento regular, el mantenimiento del tejido productivo rural y la resiliencia de las comunidades locales. En tiempos de incertidumbre no se trata solo de producir, sino de hacerlo de forma sostenible, justa y cercana al territorio. Y esto es precisamente lo que las cooperativas llevan décadas haciendo en toda Europa. Por eso, cualquier estrategia europea de seguridad debe incluir un enfoque integral que reconozca el papel estratégico del sector agroalimentario y sitúe a las cooperativas en el centro de la política de resiliencia, sostenibilidad y cohesión territorial. Mi conclusión: tenemos que hacer una Europa que juega en grande. En estas semanas se publica en Europa un libro que he escrito, editado por Planeta, donde explico el método y el contenido del informe que he presentado. Su título: Europa, última oportunidad. La ventana de oportunidad para actuar se está cerrando. No podemos permitirnos esperar. Es momento de actuar también en vuestro fundamental sector agroalimentario. Muchísimas gracias.
I think we have a few minutes for one question, maybe to you, Enrico Letta. I'm sorry, I understand very well Spanish, but unfortunately I cannot follow you in speaking, so allow me to express myself in English. You mentioned this 28th state, bringing down barriers and allow us to progress in the single market. How do you envision the policies that would support such a future state, and especially in this particular moment where we will be soon discussing the budget, the multi-annual financial framework, where there are a lot of thoughts and new thoughts on the table on how the governance of the budget would be, and what would be the role of the agricultural policy, of the common agricultural policy, but also future policies that could support your vision for this 28th state?
I think there are two main points on that. The first one is the fact that we, only 17%, 17% of all small and medium-sized companies in Europe are taking advantage of the single market. Why? Because in reality, the single market in Europe is not only fragmented in some fields, as I mentioned, like finance, telecom, energy, but it is also fragmented in horizontal. We have all different business laws. And for instance, in Spain, you have regional differences, regional business laws. What does it mean? It means that if you are a small company, you need to have 20 lawyers with you, helping you in moving from one business law to another, giving you the possibility to go in another country, and it is totally incompatible with the dimension of a small company. A small company is a company in which you have 10, 20, 30, 50 people, but you can't have 10 lawyers in your company. So the single market risks to be only for big companies. Also because when you are small, you work on your ground, in your domestic area, and you risk to have the big companies coming from abroad, bringing you competition where you are. This is why the need to have one simple set of rules that are the same rules everywhere in Europe for SMEs first is the, in my view, most important boost and push. Why this idea of the 28th? I name it virtual state. So a state that doesn't exist, we create this 28th. Why so? For a very simple reason. If you wish proposing to all the member states to cancel their own business law, they will react immediately. They will say, my business law, we created it in 19th century, in 18th century. We will defend our history. That is comprehensible. But all these differences are creating big problems to all of us. So my proposal is not to cancel the 27, but to propose for the small, medium-sized companies a sort of fast track, a sort of passe-partout, something that is unique for all Europe, simple, very simple. You choose this one, and through this one you can go everywhere. And this is the only way, in my view, to overcome bureaucracy, fragmentation, all the complicated issues that we are having. And this is, in my view, the first point. I say that for a very simple reason. I'm sure that you also are talking a lot about simplification.
A lot.
Deregulation, simplification, against bureaucracy. And we are all aware of the overwhelming situation. But we have to be also focused. We have to say where we have to change. And so the proposal I put on the table in the report is a very simple proposal, and I think this proposal can work, but also because it is a tool that we give you, companies, cooperatives, small and medium-sized companies, giving you the possibility to take advantage of the single market. That is a fantastic tool if we want to work in that direction. So I strongly believe that that can be a good help, and this help can be fundamental for the future of the European Union and for competitiveness, because you are competitive if we give you the possibility to compete, if we unblock, unleash your potential. And this is exactly what we have to do today. And at the same time, when what I tried to mention before, with this giving you the possibility to have also new financial tools, that means not having only the bank as the place where to go to find money to invest, but also having other tools that can be other tools to invest, for instance, in the digital, invest in innovation. That is, in my view, the other fundamental problem that we are having in Europe today. We are lagging behind the US on that.
I have many questions. Please, from the organizers, stop me when you think it's the time to conclude, but I will continue to seize this opportunity to have this exchange with you. We were recently in Washington, D.C. with my COPA and COGECA presidents to try to explore, to understand, to get the pulse of what is going what is happening in their minds, what are their intentions, but also to convey a message of the strong relationships we have with the farming community on the other side of the Atlantic. And what we heard there was quite worrisome. And the US market is fundamental for us. It's fundamental for the Spanish cooperatives as well. We have invested. It's a market that brings great added value to us. So what we heard is prepare for a trade war. Prepare for a big bang. What would be the strategy that the EU should take in this new global era, which is defined by tensions?
With this crazy approach from the new US administration, I think we can react only being united. I say that because it is clear that Donald Trump wants to divide the different countries, saying that you are friend of mine, you are not friend of mine. So with you, I give you some sweets, and with you, I give you just some sanctions and tariffs. In reality, if we accept the game of the division, we are lost. We need to be united. I give you one example that is, I think, interesting. Trump decided to attack the German cars. I think he has something against Mercedes. Maybe he had once, he bought a Mercedes and he had a problem, but because he wants to beat the German cars. In my own country, someone, when this choice from Trump was announced, clearly said, wow, it's not for us, it's for the Germans. In reality, when you take the figures, the numbers, you know that 1/3 of, in average, any German car is produced in Italy, in Spain, and in Poland. So Italian, Spanish, Polish SMEs, entrepreneurs, workers, their future depend on the result and the success of German cars. So if we think that we are safe because Trump attacks only German cars and not Italian or Spanish cars, we are totally blind in the way in which we understand this topic. We have to react united. And if we react united, I think we will oblige Trump to stop, because united we are very strong. We are very strong united. And we are able, united, to protect our specific characteristic and our economy, our rural economy, knowing that the key point today is to get autonomy and independence in Europe. This is the key point. I hope in my speech to have presented some ideas on that. But I want to maybe to summarize in one point. We, the Europeans, we need to be autonomous and independent. And being autonomous and independent doesn't mean being against the US, doesn't mean being against China or India. It means that this autonomy and independence is the only way for all of us to avoid the risks of the present moment. And you can ask me, but which are in concrete the risks? I say that because I know very well that Italy and Spain are exactly today in the same framework. And the framework, I want to be very clear with you, is the following one. We, the Spaniards, we, the Italians, we don't feel that there's a security threat. Why the Russians, they have to invade Spain or Italy? They invade Ibiza and they invade Forte dei Marmi, but they're not invading our countries. We don't perceive the risk of a Russian invasion. So we don't think that the problem of being united and autonomous is really the first issue. But I would like to give you an example and to ask you to think a little bit about what some days ago Elon Musk said. He said to the Ukrainians, behave, otherwise I switch off. I think this phrase, among all the phrases that we heard in the last 3 months, in my view, is the biggest threat. Because it is clear that this phrase of Elon Musk is not just a challenge. It is not just a threat. This phrase is true. If Musk wants to switch off, he switches off, and we are in the dark. Because without the system of satellites, we as citizens, you as a main protagonist of the rural development, you are in the dark, and we are all in the dark, because we are all depending on satellites. And it is clear that what happened in the last 10 years is the demonstration of this American leadership. American leadership based not on NASA, not on public investments, based on private investments. Elon Musk is a private, so private investments. And today, someone who has this mixed private and public figure can tell, until now, the Ukrainians, but today, tomorrow, also the rest of the Europeans, behave, otherwise I switch off. The key point is this one. We, the Europeans, we can't accept to be under the threat of someone out of Europe telling us, behave, otherwise I switch off. And this is the key need for autonomy and independence. And this big challenge, in my view, is today one of the most important ones. And it is for us, Spaniards, Italians, like for the Baltics, like for the Irish, like for the Greeks, like for France and Germany. It is for all. Because we have to understand that all together we are able to react to all these problems.
One more question, is it possible? Okay. One last question, going back to innovation and research. This is a key area of your report. You identified it as the fifth freedom. We feel as a community very related to research and innovation. The Spanish cooperatives are exemplary in investing massively in digital, in many projects, circular economy that have to do with innovation. It's also important to us because innovation is a way to bring together and to, let's say, release the tension between the two pillars of sustainability, the economic and the environmental. And we're coming from a term where the discussion on the transition was very polarized. So we see innovation as a key to overcome, but it's true that we need to do a lot more in terms of supporting the farmers and the cooperatives to go towards this way and to scale up the revolution that is already taking place. So how do you see our community related to this fifth freedom of research and innovation?
In my view, it has to be the big flagship for the next 5 years. And I'm very happy because von der Leyen decided to take this proposal and to ask two commissioners to have this proposal as the main core of their mission. And the idea is to say the single market, as you know, is based on 4 freedoms. And the 4 freedoms are well known. Freedom of movement of goods, services, capitals, and people. If we give a look to these 4 freedoms, it looks like the economy of the previous century, of 1 century ago. It's a quadripartition very much linked to what we touch in the economy. We miss all the intangible here. And it is on the intangible that the Americans that are leading. But not only the Americans. If you deal with the Chinese, you know very well that the old idea that the Chinese are there only to copy us is something for decades ago. The Chinese are innovating and they are applying technology. We are lagging behind because of this fragmentation. And first of all, because of the lack of the way to funding and to finance. Many of our best young scholars, researchers, start-uppers, they are leaving Europe to go to the US because they find in the US money to invest. And I think we have to change our ecosystem to create an ecosystem that is favorable for these kind of investments. And to do it, we need to invest in innovation technology and to have incentives, common incentives. You know very well that on taxes, there's a national prerogative, and this is, in my view, a problem, because we need to have European incentives, and this is the proposals, part of the proposals that I put in the report. You can find this proposal there. But for instance, we don't have, because of this fragmentation, a European degree. We have national degrees without mutual recognition, with a big fatigue to work in that direction, because each country works in a totally independent way from the others. In conclusion, I wanted to give you this idea that the problem in Europe is the fact that we think to be one, but in reality we are 27. We think to be one because we have a single currency. That is for the 27 countries in Europe out of the 27. And we think to be one because we have a common agricultural policy and a common commercial policy. But unfortunately, for all the other subjects, we are 27. And being 27, we give a fantastic gift to our competitors at world level. I give you on that one example of daily life, because you can be tempted to tell me, okay, you are telling us very theoretical aspect of Europe, but what does it mean for my life? For our life, daily life, this fragmentation and the fact that this fragmentation is bringing money and power out of Europe is, for instance, showed by a very simple example. Every day we pay with digital payment. Today you paid, you bought a coffee, you will have a dinner tonight, you took a taxi, you gave a tarjeta de crédito to pay. I would like just to suggest you to check in your wallet the brands of the tarjeta de crédito. You find the name of your bank, but then on the corner, abajo, a la derecha, you find only 3 brands. Maybe you have all the 3. And these 3 are, the 3 are American. What does it mean? It is very simple. We don't have a European financial system. So we don't have a European credit card, because the credit card or the financial systems are all national. And we, the Italians, will never pay with a French credit card. Never. The French will never pay with a German credit card. But the Germans will never pay with a Spanish credit card. And we are all happy to pay only with American credit cards. It is not just a topic of efficiency, because you can tell me, but it's efficient, so I don't care. It's a problem of power, of economic power. Each transaction we have, it is data and data that are moving from Europe to the US, feeding the Wall Street system, and of course, not only that, also fees. This is the demonstration of what does it mean being fragmented, and what does it mean thinking that our national flag on our financial system gives us strength. In reality, it gives us weakness, because fragmented, we are too small in comparison with the rest of the world. And what I would like to tell you is that we, the European countries, we have to know that there are 2 groups of European countries. The small countries and the countries they don't know they are small in Europe. What does it mean? It means that we are all small countries. In comparison with the US, with China, India, Brazil, we are all small. The only way is to stay together, to react together. That is my message today to you, and to say we have to overcome our diversities. We have to overcome these borders that we have in our head. The borders, they don't exist anymore, but we continue to have them in our head. Maybe I conclude with one episode of my journey around Europe, because as you mentioned, and I thank you very much for that, we had the possibility to discuss it at European level. To prepare my report, I wanted not to prepare my report writing it in a closed bureau in Brussels. I wanted to go everywhere in Europe, to meet people, because the single market is based on people. And I decided to do it by train, by high-speed train, because in my country, high-speed train works well. In Spain, high-speed train works well. In France, the same. In Germany. So we are very good with high-speed train. We are technologically at the top. So I said, on the train level, I meet people. I see on the ground how things are working. And I immediately understood that what is possible within my own country, what is possible within Spain, what is possible within France, it's impossible among the European capitals. You have only 2 European capitals linked with the high-speed train, that are, as you know, Paris and Brussels. The rest of the European capitals, you can get them only by plane. Why? Because we are not good technologically, because we don't have the best system. No, we are the best in the world, but we are national. All the investments, they stop at the border. There are also historical reasons, as you know very well, in the Pyrenees between France and Spain, with the different dimension of the rails. But in reality, we still have the borders in our hand, and we continue to have only national investments, and we stop at the border. And the result of all of that is that we are not efficient at the European level, and we are not able to take advantage of this dimension. So I wanted really, tengo que agradecerle muchísimo por esta invitación, porque para mí ser posible de compartir con vosotros estas ideas, este compromiso, es un compromiso por el cual para mí vuestro trabajo, vuestro compromiso, vuestra misión, vuestra profesionalidad es absolutamente fundamental. Por una otra razón, tenemos que construir un mercado único que no es solamente la libertad de circular, de mover, tiene que ser la libertad de quedarse también. Estamos todos ciudadanos de nuestra región, de nuestra tierra. Yo me siento italiano, europeo, me siento toscano y de Pisa. Y para mí los 4 son fundamentales. Y esta libertad de quedarse es parte integrante de todo esto. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Enrico Letta. Thank you.